Adolescence is like adolescence only 30 years later. A time for fun and adventure. So hi to all you adolescents out there. Now today we're going to look at our brain health. We know about keeping physically active. What are we doing to keep our brains fit and healthy? Well, physical activity is a good start, so join in the fitness routine. And then we're going to take a look at the bucket list. Maybe you've thought about learning to scuba dive, because today we're going to look at learning to scuba dive after you get to 50. Hi, today we're going to be talking about something very important, and that is brain fitness, keeping our brains fit. And we have with us the fabulous Laraine Dunn. She is Director of Well Dunn and in her 70s is a speaker, author and fitness instructor. In 2005, she was awarded the Australian Fitness Network's Lifetime Achievement Award. She specialises in exercise, aquatic exercise, healthy ageing, personal and professional development. She was also awarded the Australian Fitness Professional of the Year and has been a mentor with the New South Wales Women in Business program. Now, Laraine certainly knows all about keeping your brain fit. In her 50s, she went back to uni and she did not one master's degree, but 2 master's degrees, specialising in exercise, attitudes and health for the over 60s. Hi Laraine and welcome to Over 50, So What?
And thank you for having me on Over 50, So What?
And today we're going to be looking at our brain fitness. And when I was interviewing people for the book Alive and Kicking, a number of people expressed to me that they were more concerned about their brain fitness than their physical fitness and their physical abilities deteriorating. They were concerned about, getting dementia and losing their short-term memory. But we know, it doesn't matter how old you are, there are things you can do to keep your brain fit and healthy. And you've done a lot of research and master's degrees on aging. Can you share with us, what is happening to our brains as we age?
All right. Well, firstly, the most important thing, not most important, but one of the really important things is we do not lose our intelligence as we age. Some people think, or a lot of people think, that we lose our intelligence, that older people become dumb and etc. However, if you've always used your brain, you're not going to lose what you've got. So we do not lose our intelligence. We have a slower learning curve, so it takes me a lot longer to learn something, and because we have different learning ways compared to what happens today, but we just have a longer learning curve. But once that information goes in, it stays in. So as we age, we have a decrease in the number of neurons. Neurons are transmitters of information. They actually are smaller and we make less of them. A lot of our information about aging and the brain changed with the introduction of MRIs. We just thought that the neurons remained rigid, that the plasticity remained rigid, but however, with MRIs, realize now that that doesn't happen, and we still have the abilities for the brain, for the plasticity and the brain to remain plastic and vibrant and dynamic, and it's what we actually do with our lives rather than the aging process. So the brain experiences, as we age, it does experiences changes in the way that we view things, like it changes the way that it perceives information around our sight, around our hearing, and around our sensory receptors. So sometimes cognitive brain function deteriorates, and that causes progressive weakening of concentration, of memory and mental flexibility. But all of these things can be actually kept up to date and kept vital by just retweaking some of the things that we do with our lives and some of the ways that we think about things and what we do to keep ourselves and our thought processes on top of everything.
So that's good news. So that's very, very informative. There's a lot of stuff there I didn't know.
Human brain's able to continually adapt and rewire. Even in old age, it can continually grow new neurons. So severe mental decline is usually caused by disease, whereas most age-related losses in memory or motor skills are usually from inactivity or lack of mental exercise and stimulation. So change that around and it'll change so many things in your life.
So is there a link between physical fitness and brain fitness?
Absolutely. And it's amazing. Anything that's good for the heart is good for the brain. Anything that's good for the brain is good for the heart. So exercising is vital because one, oxygen, the heart rate is increased a little bit with exercise or a lot, whatever, but you're getting that oxygen to the brain so the brain can actually react better and it is stimulated. We can actually think more clearly. There's some research out to say that, say if as we're getting older, at 80, we've got to go for our license again, there is evidence and research to support that if you do 10 minutes of exercise before you have a test like that, it just helps your focus, it helps your memory, it helps you relax, and it helps you forward plan all of the things that you actually need, and it de-stresses. So it helps so much with the things that we need to be doing with our lives. Driving is so important to us. So if we can do that and introduce exercise into our lives, it's very, very important.
And you mentioned stress there. So I believe stress has a negative impact on the brain.
It certainly does. Immediately that we become stressed, our brain is affected because it becomes dehydrated. And if the brain is dehydrated, you can't make rational decisions. It's difficult to actually move and think from both hemispheres. If we're balanced and we're thinking clearly, we're thinking and moving from both hemispheres. The hemispheres are joined together. When we're in an emotional state, we go to our emotional side of the brain when we're stressed. But when we're thinking from both hemispheres, we make better decisions so we can react and we stay calm while we're driving. When we're in an emotive state, we don't make rational decisions, we just react, and it's so much better for us if we can work from both hemispheres. So stress is aided so much because if we can think rationally, it just gives us a different perspective. And just an example of that is if you're a carer and you are looking after someone, by doing exercise for you, it's not going to change the circumstances, but it's going to change the way that you cope. So doing brain exercises and being less stressed, and I'm not saying that doing brain exercises will make you less stressed, but it will certainly help with the way that you rationalize things. And then if you just shift that attitude just a little bit, it helps you cope with things better. Does that make sense at all, Carol?
Yes, so yeah, keeping your brain fit and active is going to help your coping skills and that's going to help you with your stress management skills.
So when we're stressed, we don't make the best decisions because we become flustered, and sometimes our mind goes blank. Sometimes we don't respond. There might be a kid on a skateboard, and we just freeze rather than being reactive and taking a step back to get out of the way. So when we're stressed, we don't perform the best that we can.
So there's lots of different things we can do to keep our brains fit. What are some of them?
Look, learning, always keep your brain. The brain loves to learn. It loves to learn anything new.
Right, Laraine, thanks so much for such an informative. session on something that's really important to so many of us as we get older.
Thank you, Carol. And go well with what you're doing. Well done, you.
Now this routine works on your legs. We're going to do some squats. If you're a bit unstable, you're not too fit, you may want to try it with a chair behind you like this, so that you're just going down, sticking your bottom out, keeping your back straight, and you can just touch the chair and come up. So that just makes you feel a bit safer having the chair there and up. If you can, sit down on the chair and push up. So that's how you can do it if you're not too stable. Otherwise, join me in the middle. Okay, 5-minute fitness. Get on your feet, get on your feet. Come on, we're going to do some good leg work for the squats. So we're going to take a knee bend, feet pointing straight ahead. And we go down and up. See how my knees are going right out of my toes? Down and up. Looks like this. Down. Nice straight back. Down. Up. As you get fitter, you can take your bottom down, but not any lower than your knees. Down. Up, few more, down, up, that's it. 2 more, down. Now we're going to take a knee lift, knee, down, lift, down, lift, down, that's it. Lift, down, lift, down. Very good for your balance. Lift, down. I've got a dodgy left hip, so I'm not quite so stable on that side. Good for me. Good for me to do this one. Two more. Squats. Are we ready? Down, up, down, up. Excellent. Nice strong legs. That's it. Up, up. Now we're going to lift the leg to the side, down, side, down, side, down. Just lift it to the side with the side left. Just have your fingertips resting on the chair. Squat. Down. Up. Down. Up. That's it. If you can, try and pull your tummy in at the same time. Pull it in. And as you come up, you can squeeze your buttock as well. Down. Squeeze those cheeks. That's it. 2 more. Now, lift, down, lift, down. Again, lift, down, lift, knee lift. Last one. Take a squat, down, up. Remember, sticking the bottom out, down, up. Nice straight back. Just make sure your bottom doesn't go below your knees. Down, up, down, up. That's it. 5 minutes a day. You're on your way. Now, Laraine mentioned that doing anything new is great for the brain. Your brain loves you to try new activities, go to new places, take on new skills. And one of those new activities might be scuba diving. Maybe you've been snorkeling and you're thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind trying scuba diving, but am I too old to start scuba diving? Well, today we're going to share my story of when I learned to scuba dive in my 50s. And I'll share my tips so you can give it some serious consideration. Now, maybe you thought, am I too old to learn scuba diving? Maybe you thought, one day I'd like to give it a go, but you get tied up with your work, with your family, with your children, and then you're over 50 and you go, I wouldn't mind trying scuba diving. Well, let me tell you what happened to me. I had a friend who wanted to go diving with the sharks, learning how to be a shark feeder in the Bahamas with this famous shark whisperer. So she said, do you want to come go scuba diving with me in the Bahamas? And I was like, sure, why not? Oh, hang on a minute. I don't know how to scuba dive. Now, I was 57 at the time. So because I was over 40, I had to go and do a dive medical. And in the dive medical, I found out my eyesight wasn't as good as it used to be. My hearing wasn't as good as it used to be. My balance wasn't as good as it used to be. But the good thing is that my blood tests showed that I didn't have diabetes and I had good blood pressure. So I was given the all clear to do the course. Now let me tell you about the course. On our final day, we were diving in a storm. There were black clouds. It was 7.8 degrees Celsius. That is freezing. We had to go in over very wet, slippery rocks. There was a storm. It was rough. I was rolling around like a turtle on my back. And then when we went down, I couldn't see a thing. So I went straight back up again because the visibility was nil. Terrible visibility, freezing, rough, slippery, and the hardest part was getting out on the slippery rocks, trying to take your fins off, and then suddenly the tank was so heavy, and trying to walk with the tank all the way over these rocks, up steps, all the way carrying this tank, I found that was quite challenging. And it didn't stop there. Then we went to a swimming pool. We actually did 2 dives, and then we went to a swimming pool, and we had to do about 400-meter swim and put on a tank underwater. And at the very last minute, the sky is dark, the moon and the stars are out, we actually had to tread water for 10 minutes with our hands over our head. And I was like, I didn't know it was going to be this hard. But I got through it and I passed. And I thought, I better just try a boat dive to see what it's like going from a boat. So I went on a boat trip out Botany Bay, round to Maroubra, and it was so much easier. The weather was better, the sea was better, there were people to help you, no slippery rocks, just in and out. And on that dive, there was a cave. And they were like, come into the cave, look at the grey nurse sharks. This was my very first boat dive. So I was like, it's okay, Ben, I can see them from here. Anyway, that boat dive gave me the confidence to go to the Bahamas. So, if you're thinking about diving over 50, give it a shot, because it is a beautiful world under there. Now, it might seem a bit scary to start diving in your 50s. Well, let me tell you, my first dive trip to the Bahamas was amazing. I went on a dive with a trained dolphin and it was so magical. And my second or third boat dive ever, would you believe it, I went shark diving with about 20 Caribbean reef sharks. Since then, I've been diving in Vanuatu and wreck diving in Micronesia. Here are some of my tips if you're thinking about trying it yourself. Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like the bucket list template or the tips for keeping your brain healthy, go to Over 50 So What Facebook or YouTube and the website carolohalaran.com. All information on any guests on the show you'll find on the website. Look forward to seeing you next time for more fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50, so what? Thanks for watching our TV show. Be sure to hit subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Jump on Facebook, join our group, get in on the fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50, so what?